everyone. We are getting ready to celebrate Easter, so I don't have my Bible here with us, but I do have a story about Jesus's journey to heaven. And we know that when we talk about Christmas, we talk about how Jesus was born into the world, and the Easter story is Jesus's journey to go be with God in heaven. And we know that Jesus died for our sins so that we all could go to heaven one day. So this story doesn't have an author, because it comes from the Bible, but it is retold by Allia Zobel-Nolan, and it's illustrated by Tracy Moroni. So this is the front cover and the back cover and the spine to hold the pages. This is the Easter story of Jesus. While Jesus was on earth, he healed the sick and taught people about God. So everywhere he went, men and women and boys and girls wanted to meet him. One day, he had to go to Jerusalem to celebrate a feast day. As he rode into town on a donkey, the crowd ran out to meet him. Some shouted, "Blessed is the King," and put their coats down on his path. Others waved palm branches and sang songs. The leaders were jealous, and they did not like Jesus. "Look how the people follow him," they whispered. "We must find a way to get rid of him." So these government people, they don't like Jesus. But lots of other people do. That night, Jesus ate Passover with the feast with his friends. He knew it would be the last meal they would eat together. He didn't want them to forget him. So when the food was passed around, he turned to them and said, "When you eat this bread and drink this wine, remember me." Jesus knew the jealous leaders would take him away soon. He also knew someone sitting in the room would turn on him and turn him in. "Who is it, Lord?" asked John. Jesus answered, "The one I give the bread to." As he passed the loaf to Judas, Judas whispered an excuse and left. So Judas is not going to be Jesus' friend. He's going to do something sad. After dinner, Jesus and some friends went to a garden. Jesus knew he would suffer and die, so he was very sad. "I am going to pray now," Jesus said. "Please keep watch." His friends said, "Yes, Lord," but they fell asleep. Jesus knelt and closed his eyes. "Father, you can take away this cup of suffering that is to come," he said softly, "but I will do whatever you want." Then Jesus got up and went back to his friends. Suddenly, a group of soldiers marched up to Jesus, and Judas was with them. He ran over to Jesus and greeted him with a kiss. This was the signal for the soldiers to arrest Jesus, and when they did, his friends left him and ran away. So now Jesus is sad, and so are his friends. Jesus was brought before the leaders. Some people told lies about him, but they had no proof. So when the leaders could not charge him with any wrong, then they asked, "You say you are the Son of God. Is that true?" And Jesus answered, "I am." This made the leaders angry. "This man is guilty of a terrible offense. He says he is God's son when he is not," they shouted. "For this he must be punished." But we know that Jesus really is God's son, and those men were wrong, right? They just didn't like him. So they turned Jesus over to Pilate, the Roman governor, and it was decided that Jesus must die on the cross. But first he had to carry it a long way to a place called Calvary. The cross was very heavy, and Jesus fell 3 times, and his friends could not help him at all. Soon after Jesus died, his friends took his body and buried it in a new tomb. They rolled a big stone in front, but the leaders were still afraid. Then they remembered that Jesus had said he would rise again in 3 days. So they gave an order for soldiers to guard the tomb both day and night. And here's the guards. And Jesus is inside here. A few days later, some friends went to Jesus' tomb. The big stone was rolled away. "It's empty," they shouted, and when they looked in, they saw an angel. "Jesus is not here," he said. He is alive again, and they ran to tell the others. So what day is it if you think Jesus isn't in that tomb? Is it Easter Sunday, the day we celebrate? After Jesus rose from the dead, he visited his friends who were happy to see him. Before he left for heaven, he told them to spread the good news of God's love to everyone. Because Jesus died and rose again, he earned a place for us in heaven, and this is why we celebrate Easter. The end. So Jesus did something very nice for us, right? So I have a little activity for you guys to do at home with your parents, so you guys can see this. I found this really pretty cross, and guess what? Miss Mizurak colored it in. So I'll send this to your mommies and daddies, and you can color this at home. But on the other page, we have a cross, and we know that this is what Jesus died on. But do you know what all these colors mean? I will tell you. Red is for the blood he gave, green is for the grass he made, yellow is for the sun so bright, orange is for the edge of night, black is for the sins we made, and white is for the grace he gave. Purple is for his hour of sorrow, and pink is for our new tomorrow. So all these colors represent Easter, and that's the colors we see in spring, right? So you guys can do this at home with your mom, and you can cut it out, and you can hang it up. And I hope you guys have a very special Easter, and I will miss you so much, and I can't wait until we can be together again. Goodbye, everyone. Happy Easter.